So lead generation isn't that difficult, but a lot of people get it wrong. There's 3 easy ways as a business that you can get more revenue in your pipeline really easily. If you want to be seen by your target audience, you have to be noisy. You've got to be noisier than your competitor. There's no point being the best company in the world if nobody knows about you. Well, a good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome. I say warm welcome. Snowy outside today. Only just made it here, didn't you, Matt?
It was a bit treacherous getting up your hill, to be quite honest. So made it.
Very warm welcome to this LinkedIn Live. We're also on YouTube. If you're struggling on LinkedIn to hear us or anything, don't worry, jump onto YouTube or jump onto Facebook. But a very warm welcome. Today, we are going to be talking about everything revenue acceleration. It's a topic that we talk about quite a lot. But today, we're going to be taking some questions off you, hopefully. I'm hoping you've all come armed with some questions. But we're also going to be running through some of our top tips and things that I think really have helped us scale so quickly. As a business, I mean, we weren't in existence 14 months ago, and now we've got 17 members, huge amounts of clients. We generate thousands of leads and inquiries every year. So I want to give you guys some tricks and tips about how we can do that.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be covering off a number of things. Like Jonathan said, we've got a cracking presentation we're going to run through with some absolute key tips and tricks, some of our inside information. We're going to share with you some key thing as well, actionable insights. We're not going to be talking about abstract hypotheticals, some key things you can actually take away and start doing today.
So first and foremost, who's got a heavy head after the Red Rose Awards? I wasn't there last night, nor was Matt, but looking at it online, looked absolutely incredible. Firstly, a huge well done to all of the finalists, number one, because even making it as a finalist is an incredible achievement, but also to the winners. I'm very positive that we will be there with you guys next year, and we will be attending. Me and Matt have both just had little ones. I say just had. Mine's a year old now, but
8 months. It's all a blur, to be honest.
But before we get cracking, guys, we're going to jump on and run through some of the stuff that we have got for you. But if you are tuning in, please could you just go on the comments and just let us know what is your biggest challenge at the moment when it comes to generating revenue. So we're going to be taking questions, and we also want to make sure that we're covering topics that you guys might be finding challenging. So can you please go on the chat just to the right-hand side? We'll read some of them out from Facebook, YouTube, and also from LinkedIn, but we'll try and make sure that we cover all of these points with you within the sort of next 45 minutes to an hour. That's really how long we're going to be on for. So without further ado, I'm going to jump onto our quick screen share. Let me just see if this works. Wonderful. That does seem to work. So the outcomes that we're going to be talking about today, understanding revenue acceleration, making sure you guys understand what revenue acceleration is and how you can start to think with that sort of mindset to get better revenue results, to accelerate that revenue performance that everybody seems to be looking for. Next one, identify revenue opportunities. So making sure that you're looking at your business from a top level or your pipeline at a top level and going, where can I make those changes? Where are those small little tweaks going to come from that is going to help accelerate the revenue performance? Implement revenue acceleration strategies. Strategy, very formal word. Strategy, pretty much plans. Yeah. Little things that we can look at. Again, are they techniques, are they tips, are the tricks that we can look at and help you create that plan? So over the next 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, you're thinking from a top level down and going, where can I start to make those gains? Indeed. And finally, how are you going to measure revenue acceleration success? Because this is a key thing. I used to have an old CEO who used to march around the office going, Jonathan, what gets measured gets managed. I was like, didn't like it at the time. Got to say, as a salesperson going, I don't want to measure my sales results. I'm quite happy just saying I'm doing very well.
I don't think there's a single salesperson who likes actively being managed, to be honest.
I've not met one yet.
No.
Not met one yet.
Leave me alone. Let me crack on. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Cool.
So without further ado, I'm going to jump back on. So a very brief introduction. If you are watching us today and you're not sure who we are, my name is Jonathan Finch. I am the commercial director at Big Presence. I've been with the company now for about 14 months. And ultimately, I mean, I bring in new clients and I also look after our commercials. I make sure that everything is done from a finance perspective. I also get brought in occasionally to help out with clients. If there's a campaign, it's a little bit tricky. But if you've got any questions, revenue acceleration, revenue growth, chuck them out at me today.
Indeed. And I am Matt Simmons. I am the strategy director here at the Almighty Big Presence. So for me, it's key on working with clients on sort of first off looking at what they actually offer to the market, pulling together a full strategy for your actual lead generation campaign, and then ultimately working again with your campaign managers on how are we going to convert these leads into opportunities, and again, reviewing your internal processes to make sure your sales process is actually being as efficient as possible. It's trackable, it's measurable, it's manageable.
Matt does all the intelligent stuff. That's pretty much what he's saying. He lets me do the sales, and then Matt does all of the intelligent stuff behind the scenes to help our clients generate leads and generate more revenue.
I would say, pretty face, brains behind the scene, but
wouldn't say that myself.
I wouldn't say that to be honest.
Andy's the pretty face. Andy, if you're watching, you're the pretty face, mate.
Andy's also the brains.
He is, yeah. We should let Andy run it. Yeah, Andy, we love you, Andy. Okay, so what is revenue acceleration? So if you haven't come across the term revenue acceleration before, I'm going to run through a few examples here, and we've got a little bit of a story to talk through with you that'll hopefully get you guys thinking about your own pipeline, your own business, and how you can start improving those results that you're getting. So if you take a very, very basic sales funnel or sales process, you can see the one that we've put up here. Starts with marketing. This is very similar to how it is in most organizations. This might just be one person who's running all this. You might be a small business owner or a micro business owner that is sat there going, I do the marketing, I also do the lead gen, I also do the sales, I also do the account management, I also do the reselling or repurchasing. I'm pushing those back around, and I also do the delivery. It's where everybody starts in business. Or you may have a larger business and you might be, 10, 15 people in there where you go, do you know what? We've got a couple of marketing staff. We've also got a couple of lead gen people who handle that. We've also got some sales staff. We've also got some account management staff. Regardless of the size of business that you are in, this is probably very similar. It doesn't matter if you're in e-commerce, doesn't matter if you're professional services, doesn't matter if you're in finance. This is probably a very similar process. Now, one thing that may be different on here is lead gen, because all companies do this differently. Does lead gen sit in marketing or does lead gen sit in sales? What do you think, Matt? Big debate there.
It's interesting. I'd argue, well, it's the vanilla answer is it sits in both because you're responsible for a number of things. For me, it's got to be marketing because ultimately it's around generating awareness. But it comes back to one of my original points around your marketing function, your marketing team need to be driven by a revenue goal. They've got to be attributable to some form of metric. Just brand awareness. Again, what does that really give you? It's got to be actionable, tied to revenue. I think you might want to change the stream as well, because I think your lovely face, Jonathan, has been covered by the logo. Thank you, Tony.
Nice. Don't worry at all. Sorry about that, Tony. I can tell you're very disappointed with that. I'll jump onto a bit of a change there. Let's have a look at. Let's go into the group. That's better.
There we go.
I'll see if I can take that off, guys. I think that shouldn't be too much of a difficult, actually. If we click on there, and that should have been removed. Wonderful. Beautiful. Thank you, Tony. Always catching us whenever we fall. It's Tony. Thanks, TG. I'd be on the other side of that, Matt. You said it on the marketing side. I've got to say, I mean, I come from a sales background.
Yep.
We didn't used to have a marketing team that supported us with lead generation. We had to develop all of our own marketing and all of our own leads ourselves. Now, this does work differently businesses to business. Every company's got a different way of doing it. What I would say, and I think Matt talks about this really, but it's everybody's responsibility to market the business, and it's everybody's responsibility to sell products as well. In our business, everybody is a salesperson. It's not a bit around the bush. If you don't get sales in as a business, you're not going to generate any revenue. If you don't generate any revenue, you're not going to generate any profit. You don't generate any profit, not going to generate any food. No food, no business. No food, no business.
The idea being, when you have profit, you can have food, feed yourself, keep a roof over your head.
Absolutely.
Yes. Very, very simple. It's what profit is.
Yeah. But in my opinion, it is everybody's responsibility to market the business. It's also everyone's responsibility to sell the business. But what I would say, if you can get marketing and your sales team singing off the same hymn sheet, marketing are doing one thing, they're then working in tandem with the sales team and passing those leads over, making sure that it's working to everybody's advantage. They've got to have a joint goal, though. Marketing and sales are both responsible for profit. Marketing sometimes sit there and go, we're just responsible for the brand awareness part.
Yeah, so sometimes when we go into clients and there's two people responsible for ad side of that thing, you have a marketing director and a sales director, and they're pretty much hate each other
Mhm.
because they are so diametrically opposed. Marketing, again, is focused on awareness and looking at website conversions, sales, hard-faced revenue. However it's set up, for me, some of the best companies that we work with and the best structures, sales and marketing director.
Mhm.
Now, I know, again, there's an argument, can sales really help with marketing if it's all around branding and website and things? I completely get that. But like Jonathan's saying, they've got to be working together. There are two sides of the same coin.
Mhm.
Ultimately, marketing brings them to your stall, gets people to actually stop and stand and look at what you're doing. And the salesperson your sales team are the people behind the counter actually selling and transacting those deals. If they're working on two diametrically opposed goals, it's no wonder that you're struggling.
Yeah.
Because they're pulling in two different directions.
Yeah, and they often end up speaking different languages. Marketing's off on one tangent, sales are off on another.
Yep.
So when you're coming up with campaign ideas, get the sales team involved in it. If you are a larger company, get your sales and your marketing team together. Whenever they're coming up with a campaign over a month or 2 months or 3 months, they've got to be aligned on that. You don't want marketing saying one thing and then sales pick up the phone and saying something else. That messaging and that brand message is absolutely key. So just going back to our slide that we've got up here, also got marketing, lead gen, sales, and account management. And then the other one that we've stuck up there, which hasn't come up just yet, but is all around repurchasing. So that'll come up in a second, I think. Yeah, let me just click that.
There we go, yeah.
Repurchase. This is something that is not talked about anywhere near enough, in my opinion, but repurchasing. Upselling, cross-selling, reselling to clients. Your existing clients are honestly the most easy to go and resell to. We spend a lot of time and effort at this on Big Presence, and having looked through our results for last year, we did above 40% of revenue through upsells and cross-sells, which is very simply going out to your existing clients and going, what else can I help you with?
Oh yeah, it's a key one. You, as a salesperson, you sort of make this unnatural assumption that, well, we've had a conversation, they know about us, surely they'll know about everything that we do, but they don't, and it's not the customer's fault for not wanting to spend more money with you. It's they've not had the opportunity to or the conversation. So that repurchasing, again, for new customer acquisition, it can be quite costly. So if you've got all these people who are buying a portion of what you do, it's a very easy account management conversation. How have things been going? Yeah, I see. I know you mentioned X was a problem. Well, should we have a chat on how we can help with that? And all of a sudden, your average customer value just goes way up, way up. Again, it's those little tweaks. So looking at people that you've already worked with.
And I think one of the biggest challenges that salespeople, maybe not challenge, but one of the biggest mistakes that salespeople make is they think, I need to go in and I need to get a 3-4 grand retainer from a client or a 3-4 grand order. A lot of the best clients that we work with, and the ones, when I say the best, the most profitable for us, the ones who've got the biggest retainers, we might have started off on a really small one. They might have started with us paying £250, £500 a month for what we were doing. When that started working, we went back to them, showed them the stats, showed them the numbers, and went, we can increase what we're doing by pulling this lever, by pulling this string over here, which will create X, Y, and Z. Now, we did that gradually. It wasn't that we went in to start with and went, you're going to be a £5,000 retainer, a £10,000 retainer. They go, whoa, we're not doing that to start with. That's a big amount of cash for us. And on the business side, that might be a large amount of money. On the other side, working clients up like that. So starting with something small, proving your value, and then upselling and cross-selling. And account management and reselling, to me, comes very simply down to one metric. How much time are you spending with your clients? The more time you spend with clients, on the phone to clients, on Zoom, on Teams to clients, the more your upsells and the more your cross-sells will go up. Yeah. It's a very simple metric, but the more time you spend with them, the more opportunities you spot. And when I say opportunities, I mean opportunities to help that client with something else.
Absolutely great. And other thing as well, from that account management point of view, is look, things go wrong. We don't
talk about that. We don't talk about things going wrong.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, no.
Everything goes perfect, and we ignore everything goes wrong. No, things always go wrong. If you're watching this, maybe you're a web hosting company or you do something with tech. Oh no, tech breaks. That's just the nature of things, especially if you're involved. By the way, anyway, things go wrong. The best thing you can do is, from an account manager point of view, to keep that client happy or at least on board, get ahead of the issue. The second you're aware of a problem, pick up the phone and talk to them. It's shocking the amount of people who go bury their heads in the sand around problems. But if you do that and you don't talk to the client, one, they're going to get annoyed that you haven't told them. Two, they're now going to start spinning their own narrative in their own head, which will naturally be a catastrophe. And actually, it's going to be an issue for the next 2 hours. You're going to get things fixed. You're on it. Bang. You're ahead of the problem. You control the story with the client. And ultimately, the client feels looked after.
So I'll tell you a little story. I used to work for a conference and events company. I started with, we used to get a lot of complaints for. Things went wrong quite a lot. You've got an event, a lot of people there, a lot of things can go wrong on it. So the sales team didn't want to speak to the complaints. And the reason they didn't want to speak to any of the complaints, salesperson sold it to them. Client came to the event, didn't have a good time for whatever reason. They would then get in contact and would be told, oh, you need to speak to the operations team. Here is a form that you need to fill in. 4 pages long this form was. Client filled it out, probably took them 20 minutes, 25 minutes to say why they weren't happy about the issue, and then got an email response back. I started at this business and I needed to prove myself straight away. I went to the sales director level and I thought, I need to prove myself. I need to show the team that number one, that I can sell. First place I went was to that complaints folder. Contacted every one of the complaints that was in there. And as soon as they came in, I was the first to get in contact with them. I can't tell you how much upselling, cross-selling I did from speaking to those accounts. People who'd had a bad experience before, if you handled it right with them and you showed them some empathy, you gave them some attention afterwards and made it right for them, they would buy off you again, and again, and would end up thanking you for getting in contact with them after the bad experience. Very similar when you go to a restaurant. I went to a restaurant a while ago. I had some chicken. It wasn't fully cooked. I can't tell you how above and beyond that restaurant went to make it right to me. They comped everything that we had on that evening. They also gave us a voucher for £100 to come back, which we ended up taking family back to a restaurant where I'd had chicken that wasn't cooked on. And honestly, they looked after us so well. I'm now a fan of that restaurant. Things go wrong, chefs make mistakes, people make mistakes, it happens, but now I'm a fan of what they do. And I'd also tell everyone else, oh, we go there quite regularly. It's very good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's sort of looking after your customers. If you're in that sales and you're responsible for managing those accounts, becoming an expert in your client space is really valuable. You don't have to become an authority. You don't have to be a thought leader in their space. But making customers aware of what might be happening in their sector. It might be something as simple as there's an expo going on where their target audience might be going to. It might be something as simple as, you send something online, send it to them in a message. Yeah. The more interactions that you have, the more value you give them. That repurchasing angle back on that slide where it goes from account management back into sales. Really easy conversations because they're feeling looked after. You're building that stronger relationship.
Love that you said that.
It's absolutely key though.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can educate the client on something within their industry, on something that they don't know about, wow, how valuable are you going to become to their business? If you're constantly educating them and going, I've done some research on this, I've shown this. My opinion, biggest issue salespeople have is they spend too much time thinking about their own product, their own service, and never dive on into the client's world, into the client's eyes, and start thinking about their problems, their challenges, what are their clients saying to them. If you can start to educate your clients on what's going on and give them something ahead, have you seen this? There's some new legislation coming out in such an industry in a month, 2 months. I was doing some research on this. Oh no, we didn't know about that. How valuable are you going to become to that client? You're going to be the go-to on everything for them.
Oh yeah. And again, it's all about that easy upsell.
100%. Yeah. So we'll give you some quick tips there. We're actually coming to quick tips at the end. Flipping out, we're going off on a tangent already here. Yep. But ultimately, revenue acceleration comes down to one key thing. 2 key things. Making more sales faster. Now, we've broken this down into 3 really simple categories. And this is very simple, guys. This ain't rocket science. Please don't think about this and go, we're going to be giving some formula here for some gold dust. This is very simple stuff that we're going to be running through with you. I say simple, not always easy to implement, but simple in the way that it goes about. So first of all, quantity of sales. This affects your revenue acceleration. If you want to accelerate those results and be making more revenue quicker, quantity of sales is one thing in there. Speed of sales. I'll let you tell us, Matt.
So speed of sales. So ultimately, how long does it take for someone to be aware of you, go into your funnel, your sales process? How long does it take for them to start and then finish at the end? And there's a close won or a close loss. For me, I'd argue back. I said speed of sales is absolutely one of these key things you need to be aware of. One, if you have a system in place that allows you to forecast things, as a leader, as a business owner, it gives you more visibility on your cash flow, on the sales forecast, and you can then start capacity planning. There's nothing worse than I've seen this happen where all of a sudden you become too busy and you topple over and things break. And that leads to a really just a broken, chunky process for the customer that they're not going to enjoy going through. Yep. So around having that sort of scalable process, but ultimately, as long as I know, from day one, I don't know, let's say your average close rate, average time to close is day 18. Great. That allows me to manage the business a lot more effectively from a sales end. And then equally, if I can speed that up, make that more efficient, revenue comes in quicker.
Yeah, I think speed is one of the things that people leave to the last. They think we need more clients, we need more leads, we need more inquiries, and we talk about this quite a lot. A lot of clients come to us and go, "We need more revenue, we need more leads," and we sit and look at the process and go, "You can't cope with more leads at the moment. If we put more leads into your funnel at the moment, you're gonna have a real issue." So this is where we help them with the sales process, and we get involved to make sure that everything in there is as quick and as efficient as possible to make sure that they're going to generate the most when we do start lead generation. Because if you've got a sales process that is lumpy, it's clunky, it's not there at the moment, putting leads in isn't necessarily going to help you. As a lead gen company, this might be going against what we should be saying, but if you are going to be putting more leads into your funnel, make sure to start with that you've made your sales process as optimized as possible. Because if it's optimized, you can handle more leads and you can handle more inquiries. Final one that we're going to add up on there, value of sales. If you can turn a £1,000 sale into a £2,000 sale, end of the year, that's going to make a big difference. Some of these, again, we're talking about here are marginal gains, and we're going to give you some really quick tips and tricks as to things that you can do personally as a business owner, as a sales leader, as a salesperson, as a business development rep, as anybody who's in that space where they're generating revenue can use and can implement really quickly to start accelerating your revenue performance.
So which one would you say is probably the most important one to focus on first?
Important is difficult because they're all important. They're all important. I think it depends which how you're going to attack them and which end you're going to go for first. Number one, speed of sales. If you don't do speed of sales to start with, it doesn't matter if you've got your value or quantity. Well, if you don't do speed, it doesn't matter about the quantity, because you can actually cause yourself a real headache and a bottleneck by having too much quantity coming in and not having the speed sorted. If you're also not optimizing the value of the sales side, that's going to. I'm just sitting on the fence here, aren't I?
You are
I am sitting on the fence.
Splinters, mate.
The key for me, the quickest win, I'll give you the quickest win because they're all as important as each other. The quickest win, I think, is the value of sales. If you can turn a £1,000 order into a £2,000 order, end of the year, that starts making a big difference on your balance sheet.
See, I'd probably disagree on that one, mate.
Go on.
I'd say quickest win, ultimately, is quantity. Quantity? No, but let me just on this one. Most businesses are guilty of not making enough noise. Plain and simple. You think you make noise, you think you post out things that are going to be relevant to your audience, whatever. I can almost guarantee you're not doing the level that you think you're doing. I would say that's probably the quickest to get set up and running because value as well. You've got the counter argument, especially if you're watching this, by the way, and you are a new business. Customers then have that perceived risk where you're a new organization. Can they really trust to spend 10, 12, 15, 20 grand with you?
Yeah.
Whereas actually, and again, back to what we've done, de-risking the sales process, starting small. A client that I went over to go see last week, they had initially a massive proposal out for a decently large five-figure sum, and they're talking about how the customer's constantly firing back with objections. And I simply said, best thing to do here, because they can see the value in it, you don't need to sell it anymore. You need to de-risk the purchase. Because the customer's going, if we spend, 40 odd grand with you and you've not been around that long, well, that could be 40 grand wasted. So the key thing here, offer them a smaller option where you trial it. They've already started doing that. It's gone absolutely amazing. Not surprised what they do. And then ultimately, it's a very now easy conversation to spread that out to the rest of the business to get the rest of that proposal.
So the reason that I'm going to go with quantity or value, I'll stick with value actually. I'm going to go with value. Think about McDonald's. McDonald's say, for example, we need to increase our profits. There's two ways of them doing that. One is to do a load more marketing campaigns, get a load more people aware of McDonald's and thinking about, I could do with that cheeseburger. Big, expensive task. Yeah. Or they can, on their little kiosk, go, would you like a milkshake with that for an extra 50p? I don't know about anyone else, but if someone asks me, do you want a milkshake for 50p extra? I'm not an idiot. Of course I'm going to buy a milkshake for 50p extra. Not everyone's going to do it. Not everyone's as stupid as I am. But most people are going to do it, and that very quickly increases it. What I'm saying is, for you as a small business owner, if you can have a look at the value of the sales that you're doing, and you can finish off with that, would you like a milkshake with that? Maybe not. You might not sell milkshakes, but you get the idea. If you can upsell something or cross-sell something, that's very, very quick. Being brutally honest, I just think a lot of people don't have the balls to do it. They don't have they're so worried at the end, going, "I need to get this order. I need to get this order. I want this ordering off this person." That they don't have the balls, or at the end, to say to someone, do you know where else we could help you? That'd be an area that we could really make a lot easier for you. And what actually happens is you finish your McDonald's at the end of it and you go, I wish I'd have bought a milkshake. And the next time you would buy your milkshake again, but the button's not there to ask for it. So the key thing here is to always be thinking about what other value can you add to clients. And there's a very simple question you can use at the end of any sales pitch, at the end of any conversation. Is there anything else I can help you with? What else can I help you with? You'll be surprised what people come up with. Sometimes they go, oh, well, I've just had a burst pipe and I need a plumber. You might know a plumber, you might be able to help them out with that, helps with a better relationship. But you'll be really surprised how people will go, well, I'll tell you what, you couldn't, oh God, it's probably not something you guys do, but we've got a nightmare with a CRM at the moment. You mean I've gone through this whole conversation and not told you that we do CRMs? It happens all the time because you've been focusing on that one problem with a client. But really important, if you can, ask that question at the end, upsell, cross-sell, it'll very quickly start making a difference to your monthly deal values.
Absolutely spot. Yeah, I can agree with that, definitely, because it comes down to, again, questioning. For me, probably the single most fundamental, important skill you need as a salesperson is asking effective questions. You know, a lot of times, salespeople just hear the customer's need, what they think their problem is, and they instantly sell to that, solve that. But then what they don't realize is if they delve a little bit deeper and understand where that problem's come from, what the root cause of that problem is, it can end up being actually a much larger opportunity that you can have with that customer.
Absolutely.
Because the customer only thinks about the surface level problem, the tip of the iceberg, because it's only the iceberg's only really come above water because of all the stuff underneath.
And you don't end up solving that problem. You end up just tickling the surface of it. 3-month, 4-month retainer at the end of it. Oh yeah, we worked with it. It was all right. By not getting deep enough under the surface, it's like that surgery piece. Sometimes you need a heart operation. Going in at the top of it and just rewiring a couple bits isn't going to help. You need a full heart operation. Very similar with a lot of business problems. Sometimes you need to go in and dig that problem out and properly attack it from a structural perspective and go, this is what we're going to do month 1, 2, 3, 4. And set that strategy out for the client of how you are going to help them and how you're going to make those revenue gains different.
Spot on, yeah.
So we're going to bounce back onto this because otherwise we're going to do what we typically do and run well over on time. But just chucking back on this, these are ultimately the 3 things that as a revenue leader you need to be thinking of. There's not much else to it, to be honest. Quantity of sales, speed of sales, value of sales. So if you are tuning in here, saw a couple of comments come up on Facebook before. Sorry, we didn't get back to those. If you are tuning in on LinkedIn or Facebook or on YouTube, which one of these do you think is holding you back at the moment? Is it you're not doing the quantity of sales that you need to? Is it that your sales process is taking too long? And if, say, for example, you're generating 1 lead a month and it's taking you 4 weeks to close it, you can only do at the end of it 12 deals. When you look at it like that, speed's holding you back. Or is it the value? Do you feel like you could upsell and cross-sell some other products or other services? I'm going to keep moving on. But again, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, comment on there. Please let us know what you're finding the most challenging because we will make sure that we focus on that for the rest of the session. We should have put a poll up, shouldn't we? A poll.
We should. Nice. But if you're going to comment on that as well, let us know what industry you're working in as well. What do you actually do? We can give you some really targeted, some advice and some feedback on that.
And I was going through, guys, any questions you've got, feel free to shut them up. I know we keep seeing things coming up on YouTube and Facebook. And Tony Stewart, so you guys are on LinkedIn as well. So wonderful to see your faces. Right, let's keep going then. We've pretty much covered that, so I'm going to jump on from there. So we're going to tell you a little bit of a story now. This is my mate Jeff and my mate Mike. Good lads, really good lads, smart guys. They've both started a company. Hypothetical story here, guys, you may have guessed. But we're going to use Jeff and we're going to use Mike as we're going along this process because we're going to talk about what Jeff and Mike could do differently, how they could upsell, cross-sell, or sort their sales process out. So these guys decided that they are going to open a CRM company. And the CRM company, we do CRM, is going to be small business owners. They're going to go out and it's going to help them optimize and make their sales processes quicker. It's going to make everything better for them. It's a retainer model, so a really good business model that they've got there. It's a retainer, a monthly amount you pay. You pay a setup fee up front. It's fantastic. Little setup fee up front, and then they'll come in and do your retained CRM for you. You met these guys, Jeff, Mike?
I've met many of your friends. I mean,
these are smart ones, not my pub friends.
I'm about to say, yeah. So I don't think I've met Jeff and Mike.
So Jeff decides that he's going to be the sales lead. He's got a bit about him. Jeff, bit of a swagger, nice car. Says I'm going to lead on the sales here, Mike.
Is Jeff you in this story?
No, we're going to Jeff Ruffin. No, I'm not intelligent to design a CRM system. So Jeff decides he's going to lead on it and starts approaching potential clients on LinkedIn. Again, guys, if you're not doing this at the moment, approaching people on LinkedIn, you're probably not going to scale very easily unless you've got other routes to market. LinkedIn at the moment is a gold mine, guys. A gold mine. It's unbelievable. Or you can go onto LinkedIn and you can get into a CEO of pretty much any company. You can get on their phone, on their mobile. When they go onto their phone, there'll be a little notification there saying Matt Simmons has dropped your message through.
Wow. It still makes me laugh how people. I don't think I've ever gone to LinkedIn at least without a few times a week saying that LinkedIn is now dead because of some algorithm change.
Yeah.
It's a tool.
Yeah. The key here, guys, is most people spend too much time scrolling the feed and not enough time in the messenger function. We send huge amounts of messages on behalf of clients every single month going out to their target audience. Sometimes very, very targeted. Sometimes it's broad. It depends who it is. If it was for Jeff and it was for Mike, for example, they've got a big, broad audience. They can speak to any business owner that's a small business. So it's a broad audience that we can go to there. If you're not using LinkedIn to its full potential and messaging out to people to try and ask them, do you want to have a conversation about this? Can I help you with this? I think the biggest issue that small business owners make is they do this 5-10 times and 5-10 people come back and go, oh, not for us at the moment. And they go, was not a good route to market that. 10 people said no. Whoa, we will not be doing that again.
Well, it comes down to the conversation on inbound versus outbound marketing or lead gen or sales. Inbound is great. Absolutely. Inbound is brilliant because oftentimes people come to you, they're already pre-qualified.
Got a need.
They're showing massive intent. They've got a need and they're easy to talk to. You don't really have control over your inbound marketing channels. You can get reliable forecasting based on, PPC hits, how many people what's your click-through rate, all these other stuff. But ultimately, you have zero control over that because all of a sudden, let's say the world ends tomorrow, people aren't going to be searching online for your solution because they're too busy. But outbound, you're going after them, you're getting in front of them. You've got control over who you get in front of, how many people you get in front of, what your messaging sounds like. Again, you've got more control on the outbound side of things.
Of course, yeah. For small organizations, once you get to be a bigger business, you can start investing in your PPC and your SEO and getting more of that warmer inbound stuff in. Like Matt said, you've no control over who that is, though. Might be someone getting in contact who's going to waste your time. They're not quite there with what they need at the moment. They've misunderstood what it is. Like, don't get us wrong, warm inquiries are brilliant. If you can get warm inquiries, but it's very, very expensive to get those warm inquiries. SEO, PPC is a typical one. In some industries, you can pay £10, £15 and above per click. That's not even inquiry, that's per click. Huge amounts of money can be spent on that. And again, this is where a lot of companies, I think, go wrong. Same with social media. We did a social campaign. We spent about £800 on it this month. We haven't generated a single lead from it yet. It's been seen by huge amounts of people, but you have to cover a lot of ground there to bring the leads in for it. So our average on warm inquiries like that on social media, we normally have to put about £1,000 worth of budget in to get one client out the other end of it. So when we're doing outbound, though, completely different level on that. We can get most of our campaigns between £100 to £200 per meeting that the client's paying as an average lead value to get in a very, very cost-effective way. And you know that you're targeting the right people. Does depend on your strategy, but until you get bigger budgets, honestly, outbound the way forward. Voice notes as well. Not going to go on a rant on voice notes, but guys, voice notes are brilliant. Get in contact with someone, ask them, are you the person I need to speak to about X, Y, and Z? They come back and say yes. Send them a voice note. You can't not listen to a voice note. If someone sends me a voice note, I'm going to listen to it. I want to let someone just send me a voice note. I'm going to get that little smile on my face when I click it and listen to it. Voice notes are brilliant, guys. Takes a bit more time, but a really good way of starting those conversations.
One more on that, though. One better.
Ooh,
Loom.
Oh, Loom.
Yeah, there's a guy on LinkedIn who does marketing content. Recommend it. He's called Harry Dry, Marketing Examples. He gives brilliant posts around how Loom does exactly what every other piece of screen recording software does. But what they did was they repositioned themselves, and that's what it's why they've absolutely gone up in value, and the user base has shot up massively over like a very short space of time. It's free, record on your computer. Your little circle of it, your little head in the corner of the screen. It's personal. Jump on your client's website, going, I had a look at this, or jump on a piece of one of their blogs. The reason I want to get in touch with you, I've seen what you've wrote on this blog. Really passionate about that. We'll have a chat around this.
Yeah.
They're not going to ignore that.
We use it loads for account management as well. Sometimes, let's be honest, you can't get in contact with a client. You give them a call, go and answer, send them a message, they don't get back to you. It happens. We love using Loom as part of account management. Really personal way of getting that over. We use it for introductions. So as soon as the client signs up and says, yeah, I'm going to work with you, sign all the documentation, Loom goes out from the account manager to show that we're taking an interest in their business. Like Matt said, their website as a background to talk through what we understand in, what we're going to be doing for them. Great tool, Loom. Yeah. The other one is Hippo Video. That's one that integrates directly with LinkedIn. We prefer Loom. Don't tell Hippo. But Hippo is one that integrates directly with LinkedIn, and that's a really good one as well.
So we'll get cracking on what we're going to cover next, but we'd love to hear from you as well. What tech are you using in your sales process for account management?
Yeah, talk to us about tech. We love sales tech. I'm great at breaking sales tech. Give me some sales tech, I'll find a way of breaking. But honestly, let us know what you're using at the moment. What CRM are you on? What systems are you using? What's your best outbound? What's your best outbound tech be? I love a bit of outbound tech. Okay, so we're going to bounce back onto Jeff and Mike. So Jeff decided that he's going to lead on the sales, and do you know what? Jeff started to use LinkedIn to see if we can get in contact with some clients. So Jeff decides that he's going to send a message to the lovely Mary, who in a second will come up. Here we go.
There we go.
So very simple process. Again, we're going back to what we talked about at the start, the marketing, lead gen, sales, account management, but awareness, consideration, intent, and purchase. Very, very simple. You've probably all heard of this before. Awareness, consideration, intent, and purchase. So Mary gets her email through, opens up the email, the LinkedIn message. Maybe it's a voice note, maybe it's an email, doesn't necessarily matter in this. She then goes to consideration, jumps onto a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting where Jeff talks through, this is what we can do for you. This is how our CRM is going to help you. She then dives on to the next meeting, which is the intent stage. And this is a stage as well, I think a lot of salespeople don't pay enough attention to, but she goes and presents it to the board. Small company, they've only got a small board, but there's 4 or 5 of them make decisions on this sort of stuff. She stood there going, this is what I think we should do. It's going to help profitability. It's going to help the sales team. It's going to help the account management team. We're going to generate more money from it. And then finally, she gets back in contact and goes, yes, I am going to purchase from you. So we've put together a few little stats on here. So you can probably see that there's some numbers on there around how many times it is possible to do this. So say, for example, you've got 50 working weeks in the year. Jeff works out after he's done his first sale, he's got 50 working weeks in the year. Sales cycle takes 4 weeks. To do that for Mary, it's took 4 weeks to get to that stage. The potential number of sales that is possible in the year is now 12.5 based on that. Now, this is assuming as well that Jeff is getting 1 lead per month in, 1 response from here. From that, average order value of £5,000, profit of 2,500. It's a profitable service. It's software as a service. And potential yearly revenue is 62,500. And the gross yearly profit is 31,250. So again, I'm going to be coming to you guys on this. And I want to know from you, before we start talking about what Jeff and Mike can do differently, what can they do, or what should their first step be to start accelerating that revenue performance? Because based on what they're doing at the moment, the numbers are telling them that if they carry on doing what they are doing, they are going to get the same result. And at the end of the year, we'll have done 62,500 in revenue. Now, these two guys are smart guys. You know, they're ambitious business owners, probably like you guys. They've got a big focus on wanting to scale and wanting to grow and wanting to do better. So again, YouTube, if you're on YouTube, fantastic. Drop those in. I can see YouTube's really busy at the moment, as is Facebook. LinkedIn, if you're on LinkedIn, comment on there. What could they do differently to accelerate their revenue performance?
Where to start?
Where to start?
Where to start? And this is probably one of the issues when it comes to when you start looking at your own business. Is it's what I like to call it blank page pressure.
Mm-hmm.
When you're writing copy for a client, that blank page, there's just sort of infinite possibilities.
Yep.
That it's a case of where do I start? Because ultimately, and again, it also comes down to risk. We're always thinking about how can we we could change the source maybe.
Sure. I'm just up the BP logo for the moment.
Yeah, so everyone, quick camera issue. We're just getting that sorted for you now. But whilst we're getting that sorted again, what are you currently using to get out there? What are you doing? What options have you? Again, what would you say your favorite channel is to generate new opportunities again to grow that revenue? Are you a LinkedIner? Are you inbound? But what is your goal? Actions, you've got to make it really, really engaging. So again, direct prospecting, or you try and audio on. Yeah, brilliant. Lovely. So back onto this original point.
Having a right day today, aren't
We are indeed. Tony, you're on mute, mate. We're not on Zoom.
Not on Zoom. You're on mute, mate. You're on mute. Yeah, I think we're all back on there. Can everyone hear us all right? Any issues, let us know, but we should be unmuted there.
Yeah, no, we're all live on there.
Yeah, on it.
Lovely.
So again, going back to what would you say, Matt?
Again, back onto the value piece. So you celebrate that performance.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I say value. It comes down to what issues and what feedback you get from customers. If you're having deals that are slowing down, you're having a lot of objections around that. Again, de-risk your purchase. And let me preface this, by the way. I'm not talking about discounting. That's a naughty word.
Don't say the D word.
Don't say the D word. No. I mean, you call me the D word all the time, but
yeah, you are a discount.
No, but it's not about discounting. De-risking and discounting, two very different things. Discounting, have everything for 50% off.
Yep.
No. De-risking, okay, why don't we start small? Why don't we start looking at this? Why don't we start off and then piecemeal it? If we can get this live, great, we'll move on to the next one. And creating a bit of a deal with your customer, a bit of a process to building up to that higher return. So again, it all comes down to, but only if you're getting those big objections, you're getting deals stuck at proposal stage.
Absolutely. Speed is a massive one on this. If you can start pushing deals through faster, if Jeff and Mike can start getting their deal time down from 4 weeks to 2 weeks, it means that they can start pushing more through it.
Indeed.
Also, at the same time, though, if they focus on quantity, doing more marketing, doing more lead gen, very, very simply, lead gen, I mean, people think it's some sort of dark art. If you want to generate more leads and you want to generate more inquiries, there's two things you need to do. One, be more noisy. It doesn't matter how you're noisy. Go and stand in the middle of Blackburn Town Centre if you want with big billboards saying, we do lead generation. It's probably not going to be that great. It's not going to be the most intelligent plan, but you are being more noisy. That on the other side of things, if you focused on, do you know what, I'm going to do more work on LinkedIn, I'm going to do more posts, and I'm going to get more attraction on that and get more people viewing your profile, it will generate leads. If you're looking for direct lead inquiries, go out and ask more people. If you're asking 5 people every day if they want to have a conversation with you, most days 5 people are going to say no. That doesn't mean you stop doing it. That doesn't mean that you stop doing it. If you ask 5 people every day, targeted, you went out on LinkedIn, you went, I'd love to have a conversation with you about this. You sent them a voice note. This is the reason why. If you did that 5 times every day, that's 25 a week. You're probably going to start to get an inquiry out of that, or 2 inquiries per week out of it. Doesn't mean that you're going to book everyone. Not everyone's going to need a new CRM. Jeff and Mike aren't going to sell to everybody, but they are going to start generating appointments. Now, very simply, if you're going out and doing 5 a day, that's 25 voice notes that you send in a week, and that's getting you 1 meeting. Most people will go, that's failing. That's not failing. That's great. That's successful. That's working. You're getting a meeting a week out of it. Now, I'll let you into a secret. If you want to do 2 leads per week, you need to do 50. It's very simple. Double the amount. You're working the metrics here. But most people get so worried that they're not going to generate, that they're getting told no, that they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Not everybody is going to want to buy from you.
Yeah, and I think that you've got to be comfortable with doing the activity.
Yep.
You can't just sit there and go, I really wish my business was busy. My business was busier. I really wish we had more leads. I really wish we had more inquiries. I really wish we had more revenue.
I hope.
Yeah, hope doesn't bring people to your door.
No,
hope doesn't
absolutely.
bring revenue. You've got to go out and do the activity. And part of that thing you talk around the voice notes, why I want to get in touch with you, that justification piece, that justification pitch on your voice note is really key. Human beings, and this is now getting sort of into the psychology of it now, is human beings on the whole have quite a high willingness to comply with a request. I'd love to have a chat with you. But the brain needs to know why.
Mm-hmm. Make it specific.
Yeah. If you want to have a chat with me, great. Why? Because again, the human brain needs to understand the justification behind it. So when you're leaving those voice notes, when you're sending those messages out, I want to get in touch with you because, and that has to be a really specific targeted message. It can't be, I want to get in touch with you because I want to sell to you. Mm-hmm. Obviously, no. It has to be I've seen this. I'd love to have a chat about it. Really, I'm really passionate about that same space. I want to see if we can, is there anything we can help with.
Absolutely.
It's got to be relevant.
More specific, the better when it comes to that. So there's another way of us looking at this for Jeff and for Mike. And Matt, I'm going to let you lead on this one because I know this is one of your favorites.
We're old. Yeah.
But this is something called the Ansoff Matrix. We use this a lot when we're talking to clients. We also use it a lot internally ourselves when we're looking at our strategy every quarter and seeing what we're going to do for the next 3 months.
Yeah, so the Ansoff Matrix has pretty much been around since the beginning of time to some degree.
Before that. Before that.
Yeah. It's very, I say old. It's old isn't the right word. It's tried and tested. It
stood the test of time.
That's exactly it. Stood the test of time because it is so simple. It was developed back in the 1960s. I think it was Igor Ansoff. He was a mathematician. I think he was a Ukrainian ex-national who moved to America. Worked with the likes of IBM, Lockheed Martin around the strategy. And what he realized was there were essentially 4 main ways all these big companies grew. And you can see on that screen there, and this is a really good experiment, a really good little test to do for yourself if you want to look at how you can grow, is on a piece of paper with a pen, just 4 boxes. And at the top, you've got existing, new, and on the rows, existing, new. Now, in your existing column, what this is, you have your existing services and products and your existing target audience. So let's hypothetically say Mike and Jeff. They find a niche. Mm-hmm. Great stuff. Love niches. But let's say their niche is companies with less than 10 employees, under 2 mil turnover, and in the professional services space. That's, for me, quite broad. It needs to be even more now. Let's say accountants. So less than 10 employees, less than 2 mil turnover in the accountancy space. Okay, there's a lot of people in that space.
Huge amounts of people.
You know, people.
SaaS company can work nationally,
Indeed.
internationally.
Exactly. So, how can Jeff and Mike sell what they sell to that existing audience? Again, same target audience. It's what's called your ICP, your ideal client profile. And then if we move over to the top right, new services and products, again, to existing audience, existing markets.
So is that upselling and cross-selling?
So it's a bit of both. It's partly down to sort of iteration and ideation, so creating something new.
Yep.
But that doesn't have to be like, you know, Apple match up to this perfectly, but that doesn't mean throwing everything out. And, you know, yes, we do CRM. Oh, and now we're doing, I don't know, an email platform.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be something as wide off as that. Or we do your CRM and we do your web hosting. No. It doesn't have to be that far out.
Yep.
Key thing I'd say with this, make it linked.
Yeah.
So Jeff and Mike have a retained model, right? They have, you know, like I said on there, it's £5,000. That's average client value, and it's retained every month. Okay, well, what else could they offer as part of that retainer as an upsell? Could they offer out-of-hours support? Could they offer customers the ability to, you know, for an additional fee, we'll pull and we'll export all of your data and we'll put it in some brilliant dashboard, so all of a sudden your data is visual. That's a natural, logical upsell and a natural evolution of their service.
One of the key ones here as well, guys, is let the market drive this for you. So say, for example, for us, I mean, we constantly have been getting asked, could you help us with sales process mapping? Yes. Can you sit there and map our sales process out? Previously, we were a lead generation company. We just did lead generation. A lot of clients were asking us, can you help us map out our sales process? Can you help us with our pitch decks? Can you help us with our better proposal documents? Can you make sure that all that flows and the CRM's all integrated? Yes, absolutely we can. Andy, we talked about Andy before. Andy, the intelligent team member, I'm not saying that you're not intelligent, but
no, it's fine. I understand.
But Andy pulls all this together for us. So now we've got loads of clients that we work with who help manage their CRM. We're a HubSpot partner, and we work with them to help make that sales process better. So first of all, map out the process, and then make sure they've got the process all fixed into their CRM, and it's all automated, it's all working with any other systems. And then we help them with the lead generation side. So it's an upsell, something else that you can do. But we developed that as a service because clients were constantly asking us, can you help us with this?
Yeah, it's again, you're going into a new space. Yeah. If there's already noise, if there's sort of ripples in the over that side of the pond, so to speak, go to where there's movement, go to where there's an opportunity, and strike while the iron's hot. Then we have on the bottom rows, we have existing products, new audience, new target audience. So again, this comes down to thinking who else could benefit from your service. Now, I know you said at the beginning, well, Jeff and Mike can sell to everybody. Nothing makes you struggle and fail faster than I can sell. If you will, but they're sort of different niches where again your messaging, your communication to them might want to be a slightly different. I think is OBS having a bit of a
it's come back on.
Lovely, good.
No, it's dropped again. No, it's back on. It's dropped again. We'll see how we get on. I'm not quite sure.
It's flashing, but
so go on. Sorry, hit the final one.
So new. This will be your most riskiest venture. New target audience, new products. So again, as if you sort of think about the Ansoff matrix as a grid, the further to the right and further down that you go, higher level of risk. You've got to be comfortable with that because you are treading away from what you know. So again, start thinking about, well, again, who are additional people that you can work with and what else could they want? Solicitors might not need a CRM, but they might need a data management system. Well, can you build and develop that as a proposal, as a solution, as a system for them? But again, thing you got to be aware of, the further you go away from the top left, higher level of risk.
Absolutely. Makes it a lot more difficult as soon as you go away from that point.
Yeah.
So look for the least path of resistance here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if Jeff and Mike are looking at this, the easiest thing for them to do is to either upsell and cross-sell to people that they're already doing, or move into a different industry. Very, very simply, those are the two simple things that they can do. And guys, I'm really sorry, but we seem to be having another issue with the webcam, and I'm not quite sure how to solve it this time. We restarted the program before and it worked. But unfortunately, I think we're going to have to call it a day there. If anyone does have any more questions or wants to get in contact, please give us a shout. I'm hoping that you can all still hear us. But apologies, we'll have to look into this and we'll have to make sure that we've got it sorted for next time. But a big thank you for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate you all coming on, and we will look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks.
Indeed. And a final thing as well, again, like we said, we're going to have to cut it early because of technical issues, but we'll keep an eye on the chat for a little while. If you do have any questions, queries, or any issues you'd like to share, I'm more than happy just to respond to your comments, or equally, if you just want a quick call with one of us, again, we're happy to share advice, share our insights. Let us know.
Speak to you soon, guys. Thanks very much.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Well, that's right in broadcast.
So lead generation isn't that difficult, but a lot of people get it wrong. There's 3 easy ways of business that you can get more revenue in your pipeline really easily. If you want to be seen by your target audience, you have to be noisy. You've got to be noisier than your competitor. There's no point being the best company in the world if nobody knows about you.